Welcome back to Shenanigans. Good to have you guys here today with us. Henry, thank you very much for being our guest today. Thank you for being here. Most importantly, how are
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm pretty good, pretty
you? Yeah,
good.
can't complain. We are in a very nice spot to do a recording today. Nice weather, not too warm, so pretty good. So, guys, we could discuss about the weather for 2 hours, but maybe let's focus more on the introduction in regards to who do we have here today. Henry Hodge, a British American filmmaker who traded the Hollywood hustle for a new life in Prague. He's the founder of Spectre Film, which will be going deeper into what exactly that organization does, how it was created in the first place, and has currently seven feature-length film in development. One that was produced under this organization I've just mentioned, and two other you were mentioning as a cinematographer in the US directly while you were in the US.
Yeah, so one of
Yeah.
the movies is already streaming up online.
Uh huh.
It's called American Wages, and seven more in development. And as a cinematographer, I did one feature-length film in Los Angeles and one feature-length film in Alaska.
Damn. Okay. And all of this without formal film school education, which is also
No, nothing. I mean, technically, I went to sixth form college, but to be honest, it really wasn't great. I was learning more on my own through independent research and books than in the college, but no actual film school or anything like this.
damn. Okay. Well, one of the reasons we were thinking about calling this the Swiss knife as a title as well, which we'll get into detail as we move forward. But you've also worked with some brands like BMW and Samyang. I'm not familiar with Samyang. What exactly do they do?
Yeah, that's right. So Samyang is a lens company actually.
Okay.
They started out doing like very like indie lenses
Uh-huh.
for like lower end, more like videographers just becoming cinematographers, let's say. And then now in the recent X amount of years, they've been making more high end lenses
Uh-huh.
for higher profile shoots, higher budget commercials. And they were actually the first lenses that I bought when I was about 17 years old with like all the money I could make at a time working part-time at a retail store. And then like here we are years later and I ended up directly doing a commercial. And basically we did an action short film as a lens test showcase. So it was a commercial, but it was in the style of an action short film to kind of like push the lenses, push the boundaries, test how they perform in different environments and things like this.
And as a side, was it your idea? Like, did they reach out to you, or was it some project you had the back of your mind since you wanted those glasses as a kid as well? So I'm guessing that brand also
Uh,
meant something to you.
No, um, unfortunately, I want to say that, but it's not true.
No. Okay.
Basically, it's a really weird story. There's this guy in Dubai who's a cinematographer. He's really huge. He's doing like commercials for Hyundai,
Hmm.
Coca-Cola,
Hmm.
Sephora, things like this. I think he did a feature film for Disney,
Okay.
and his wife is Czech. And he was posting in the expat groups that he was visiting, and I seen his profile, seeing he was in the Australian Society of Cinematography, which is
Yeah.
one of the biggest places you can get to. So we just kind of like were talking, like on those terms of just meeting up, hanging out,
Hmm.
kind of thing. Maybe like me learning something, and then he had that commercial already in the bag, basically, and it was supposed to take place in Dubai. But at the time, Dubai was accepting a lot of Russian people, controversially, and so the brand no longer wanted to be associated with Dubai. And
The
he was
connection.
visiting
Hmm.
Prague anyway with his wife. So
Okay.
I ran the numbers under Spectre Films and stalled the whole commercial.
Shit. Okay.
And it was awesome.
That's cool. Oh, okay. Yeah, because we had this in the introduction, but I was like, we should maybe dig a bit further. What's the story behind it? That's pretty cool. And
Yeah,
so
right
you're,
place in the right time. That's
yeah.
what it was.
I mean,
And and a,
kudos to
and a good
you.
attitude.
Kudos to you. And you also are, I want to say, the founder. Yeah, I guess that's the
Yeah.
correct word for the 10,000 member Facebook community called Actors in Prague.
Yep, that's right.
When was it created? This group? How old is she? How is it now?
4 years ago, or something
I
like
think
that.
it was. I need to double check, but I think it
I
was.
need to check.
We know our information brilliantly before podcast, as you can see.
It was created at some point.
It was at one point, yeah. Okay, so let's give some context because you and I had the chance of discussing as on the
Yeah.
introduction call, but for our audience, leap to Prague. I think it gives you the question already, but you're from the UK originally.
Mm.
What brought you to America in the first place? What was that step that said, screw this, I'm going to Czech Republic? And how was it when you arrived in Czech Republic?
Okay, so from the start, I'm from Bristol in the United Kingdom, and I just got a bit tired of it. I found it. I had a bit of cabin fever. Found it a little bit toxic, and like I had some of feet in the door to the BBC, but they were very resistant uh, to kind of give young people opportunities, kind of thing. And I was just seeing too many of the same people too often. And I'm a dual citizen with the US. My mother's from Florida, and I kind of had this kind of calling for a while to just explore the US. And I was just, started to think about LA. I ended up getting this really interesting sort of cold calling sales job just before I left in Bristol. That ended up having these interesting loopholes with commission that I was able to like get like an unnatural amount of cash together really quickly. Then I kind of used that and just bounced to LA for a new adventure. I kind of wanted to put myself to this challenge of like doing the thing that I feared the most. At a time, I had never even lived alone before. I still wasn't moved out of my parents' house, and then
Okay.
directly bought a one-way ticket to LA.
Nice. Okay.
Prepared as much as possible, and just went to that adventure. LA was everything. It was like ups and downs, craziness, but amazing people there as well. Cool projects, much more competitive and difficult to get paid, things like this. But then after 3 years, I met these Czech celebrities over in Prague. There was one summer where they were all visiting and going to Coachella and things like this. We ended up doing some music video that was never released, but we became really good friends, and they invited me to check out this scene in Prague. And it was just one of those other moments where I was just like, screw it, I'm gonna go for it because I was 21. And so, those are the times to take advantage of
So
things like this.
if that didn't happen, you think you would have stayed in LA a bit longer then?
Yeah, for sure.
Because you at that point were already kind of seeing a path, or was it still like, maybe I'll stay for a little bit longer, but if that doesn't work, I'll try something else?
No, I'm pretty sure I would have stayed in LA. It's like it was feasible, and there was a clear step forward, but it was just very difficult, much more expensive, much more crazy, problems with homeless people.
I kind of wonder now I'm curious, what do you mean by the problems with the homeless people? In what sense?
Huge population of homeless people, absolutely everywhere.
Okay. And that was also the case back then, because I know you hear a lot about it in today's news, but
It was really bad back then. It's
yeah,
even worse now.
even worse. Fair enough. And so you end up meeting the right people who give you the chance of discovering Czech Republic. This was the first time you came to Czech Republic, or had you already?
Yeah, like until they started telling me about it, I didn't know about it very much.
At all. It was completely brand new. Okay. And
Yeah.
how was it when you first arrived there? What was that first impression for you?
It was a culture shock, really interesting. Now things are getting a lot more like structured, modernized, fancy cafes everywhere, vegan places. This wasn't there when I moved here, and it was just so much more of a blend with like, it felt like you're stepping into like 1970s UK,
Sure,
in
okay.
many aspects.
Yeah.
But it was beautiful at the same time. It was amazing. Like really, really cheap food and cheap drink, and like Prague kind of felt like an LA before it became LA, whereas like there's still like a lot of interesting and amazing gaps in the market, and so a lot of rooms for new productions to come about and innovation. And I kind of call this like a bit of a golden wave. Like every place has its real golden wave, where like the opportunity and the conditions are really good, and then that can last X amount of years, and then it gets really saturated,
Yeah.
just like in LA, New York, London, and that's why it's like so difficult, because there's already been so many established people and companies over there.
And speaking of that, because you're mentioning about the opportunity surrounding it, but which also kind of correlates to what we were going to discuss right after. But in regards to those open doors, as a foreigner moving to Czech Republic, and specifically in the industry of film industry, in the Czech film industry scene, how was it for you as a foreigner? Did you face any closed door?
Yeah, absolutely. Like here, you just really have to create your own opportunities and like do a lot of outreach, but you can really make something work. I definitely find it to be quite xenophobic. The Czech people in the film industry could be very closed to hiring.
Why do you think that is?
They kind of just keep to their own.
Yeah.
They keep to their comfort of having just Czech people, or mostly Czech people, on their sets, you know. So that's quite challenging. Then also like things are really getting better now, but also like just the process of like setting yourself up legally and like setting yourself up correctly for business was incredibly difficult. It was a system that's set up that as a foreigner, if you can't afford some expensive advisor, then you had to do it like manually and go to all these different dispersed offices with people speaking no English. And it was just very unhelpful. And then even when you do get through to somebody who's quite helpful, this is in the past, this is some years ago,
Yeah.
but when you do get to someone who's quite nice and or nice enough, then like they can just skip out bits of information because they want to go home, or they can just tell you wrong information and will just gladly do it and stuff like this. This is now changing. They're putting a lot of effort into making the system a lot more fantastic. You know, it is a small country, so it's understandable. But now they're really making it into like portals. They're working harder to make things English friendly, which I think is really important because you know, they want to invite as much foreign business, foreign industry, foreign finances as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to come here and do business. So you know, it's really good to improve the system and make it as easy as possible for us to come here and not just make money, but pay our taxes and things. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you contributed to it in its own right, which we'll get to after. But what did that do to you on a personal level? To not necessarily facing the closed door, because I feel that in LA you must have faced quite a few. I don't think that was quite new to you, but more the xenophobic aspect must have been something new that you didn't necessarily feel before. So, how much of that did you think it carved who you are today?
A lot, you know. It really makes you like so much more resourceful,
Mm-hmm.
tenacious, I guess, and it makes you very persistent. So, and these are really great traits for doing anything like
Yeah.
what I've done. And yeah, you know, there's just a lot of no's, or like compared to the US, you know, the American attitude is like, yeah, let's do this, you know, that kind of thing, like really optimistic. But it's kind of like a sort of older classical Czech mindset has been what I would label as like problem oriented
Mm-hmm.
instead of solution oriented. So, you know, you're discussing about like a movie, you know, it's ambitious. You want to do something that's not been done, it's higher budget or stuff like this, you know. Here it's becoming a lot less now with the new generation and stuff, but here you get a lot of people who would just be like, but that's really expensive. But you need a lot of hard drives. And then like you'll get somebody, let's say, with like an American film attitude. They'll be like, we know there's the issues, but this is how we're gonna solve them. You know.
All that. Okay, and what was that? What was that tipping point? Where was the tipping point where you said, you know what, enough, I'm doing it myself?
Mm. Well, I was planning it year by year, and sometimes like there was some dips or things weren't going well, and I was debating if I was gonna go. And then yeah, that was at the market, and like there was one point I just wasn't seeing how I could carve a future here, because I wanted to get out the videography stuff after a couple of years and
Yeah.
do some real cinematography, have some real budgets, do some real producing, big cameras, larger solutions for larger clients. And then, of course, like if you're going to go the normal traditional route of submitting your CV, unless you've got some real nepotism network, it's just not happening, you know. Um, and then I luckily met these really genius marketing guys who like helped me kind of like study markets in general, but also study the Czech and Prague market. And then they recommended me to start a company to get the big clients, and that's kind of where it clicked. I was like, well, yeah, if I make the company, then it's an image of like an organization, and then you can gain the trust of like bigger clients. People are willing to trust you with a lot more money, and then it works really well. And then that's kind of what happened, and how I fell into producing, because then I was just organizing my own stuff and shooting it at the same time, and then it just like, fell naturally.
Nice.
So then I became a lot more professional, and then that lens test commercial was kind of my well, there's a pilot trailer before that, which was my first biggest thing, but the lens test was something that was like really a lot bigger and a lot more professional, and that was where I could like proudly call myself a real producer, I guess, from that point.
Okay. What can you tell me a bit? Because I do want to give you as well the chance to discuss it a bit more. But what would you say is the goal of Spectre Film, and what's your key differentiator?
I think the main goal is not going bankrupt. That's for sure.
So that's a for any business out there, it's a very good goal.
Don't start a film business, guys. No, but it's very difficult. It's one of the most risky forms of business.
Yeah.
The main goal is honestly there's a kind of couple things, few micro things, and the main
Mhm.
goal. But the main goal is to scale up and kind of make a movie producing machine. I want to bridge a gap in the mid market with feature length films as our primary products, with the USA, getting finances from the USA and shooting it in Prague is great for the community. We get to bring in a lot more foreign money
Mhm.
and a lot more extra money outside of this country. And then as a byproduct of that, I would like to create a lot of jobs for expats. And I won't exclude locals. I will hire locals. I will hire people from Ukraine, Russia, things like this. But then I will just like keep it completely mixed and international and equal opportunity for,
I think there's your differentiator as well,
yeah,
in its own rights.
for anyone living here, like whether you speak Czech or not. And I basically want to grow it just bigger than myself. So I want to, I think what I might do is the first year things start really kicking off, because we have 7 features in development, which could all pop up at any time and at the same time possibly. And I actually hope that happens, so I can actually use the commission, the agency fee commissions, to actually start hiring a team to manage it. And I'll probably take the first year to step away from filmmaking altogether and just get the company running, so it's self-sufficient and we have the people to take in the projects and manage them. Then I can relax a bit and choose what projects I even want to get involved with on my own company. But it means if it can scale like this and we have multiple films running at once, you know, being successful, getting their ROIs, and then we're getting like more, and then we're able to have the time to get more and more investors on board, then this is going to create just an obscene amount of jobs in the film industry and really make the expat scene sustainable, because that's the issue right now. The expat scene is very dispersed. There's not many alliances happening. People are like very much fighting and scrabbling for gigs. No offense to anyone. And there's just not enough work to go around, so everybody's got their side hustles. And it's a shame, because there's really amazing people, really, really talented people who deserve a very fruitful full-time career. And unfortunately, there's just too weak of a market in this area.
Okay. And I want to say, because, and I think that's something I personal note right now, there's no data back behind it. But when we first spoke, you reached out, and then doing my own research and also listening to how you approach the entire conversation today, in everything and every way you speak, it sounds always like you're in your own way trying to give back. Like you're telling your story, but you still, while you share your story, you're also giving information about what to expect, about what can happen, what's today's situation. So there's always that educational aspect that comes back, which connects back to giving back, and which I really appreciate about you, honestly. And it does bring me as well to better understanding, and I think it connects very well to creating a community. But
Yeah.
why did you create a community other than, I guess, what I've just mentioned of giving back in its own way? Was there anything else? And what can you tell us about the story behind the actors in Prague?
So it all starts with community. Like you need a strong community for there to be for people to solve each other's issues. LA has this issue in the indie side of the industry, because everyone is trying to take before they give, and then it doesn't work because everyone's trying to grab things from each other instead of providing things. And if you go into a community and you come in giving without any expectation of a return, and then people are seeing like, wow, like humans are able to do this, and you're like, yes, they are, if you choose and have a good attitude. And then more people adopt this mindset and are like coming in offering things, you know. And then there's a platform like for this, like in Actors in Prague, other similar Facebook groups, online forums. Then there's like constant solutions for things, like all these people who might be struggling because they don't know something or they don't have enough information to produce their own thing, and they're just missing this one piece of the puzzle that someone else has. You know, then that person gets to make their film, that hires 10 to 20 people, and it's basically just a spiral. It just makes everything better, and it just makes it work. So that's my attitude, because then it makes it contributes to making the whole scene work for others, and then it comes back around to me, because there's more people who are successful, more people making money, actors start doing their own films.
That's beautiful.
Actors who start to earn some good money doing commercials will then maybe invest themselves and get, like, let's say, other investment, and make their own feature film as an actor's vehicle. And then that could hire 30 people, you know, things like this.
Yeah. I gotta say, even Actors in Prague is very active. Like, in the sense, you see people posting daily. It's not just one of those groups where there's 100,000 people and nobody does anything. Right? Things actually are moving, and you can actually see there's some decent offers that come around. There's some great connections are made. But I gotta ask, how does that make you feel?
Really good,
10,000
really
people,
good. I'm so happy about that page, and that it's like working so nicely. But yeah, because when I came here, there was nothing really, because, well, there was, but there was just like a couple of these pages that, like, the wording was a bit too, like, fluffy and not so
Mm-hmm.
obvious. So like, if people don't understand your branding and within seconds, they're just going to skip out on it because we're spoiled for choices. And then they weren't maintained very well. You know, they were letting just anything be posted and things like this. And so that's one thing I did. I just made something just as easy as possible. Actress in Prague. You can't mistake it.
No.
It's only one thing. It does one thing, and that's it.
That's
And then
obvious.
I have monitored and still monitor the page to this day in a very rigid, consistent way. So I'm just on it all the time, and I have my own like little philosophy with the kind of content. I want every single post to be of value and either mostly be paid, direct paid work and nothing else. Or if it is free, they have to be offering something that's like really good value. And then it has to make sense, you know, for the people, because I have a really good understanding for the people in the group and what they react to and what they like and stuff. So sometimes like there are some like little gray areas where like the person's not technically doing anything wrong, but I know the no one's going to react. So I'll remove their post and give them like some feedback, being like, hey, maybe swap it, maybe put a really good picture there, because like, you know, managing this page, I just know people aren't going to react. So it is better for you if I just remove this, you improve it, and post it again later, you know, stuff like that. And I feel like there's this kind of like feedback loop, where because people associate the quality of content that comes through Actors in Prague, people respond to the notifications a lot more, and then the engagement rates go up, and then it gets like spread around, and then that's how it kind of grows. And then you know, there's been a lot of people who've got a lot of paid work through the group, so it's really cool.
Yeah. Check out the group if you ever want to discover a bit more, maybe launch yourself out of your comfort zone and try. I tried it myself. Had a person ask me to send pictures for an actor's position, so I was like, all right, why not? Why
Yeah,
not? Could be interesting and more out of curiosity. But I think it's fair to say that looking back and everything we've discussed, and also what I've heard from you in the past, you've done a lot. You've got a rich career. There's of course much more you can still do, and I hope you'll and I wish you all the best as well moving forward. But we have to come back, and I feel it's interesting to come back that in some cultures there's a certain importance, you know, to put into the educational aspect. But I feel that in your case, it was really focused on learning by doing. Do you think at the end, not having a film school specifically, because you did, you know, graduate and go to uni, but it's more. Do you think for you, learning by doing was more advantageous than you think if you had just gone to a school, a traditional path? Let's put it
I
that
think
way.
so for me. I mean, it depends on your goal. I think if you
Yeah,
want to like be second AD on a Netflix production,
yeah.
film school is great because you're going to get all those connections. And there's a few times I've been a little jealous. I've been like, maybe I should have done that. But no, to be honest, I'm really happy in the end. It's been beautiful. And, you know, no offense given to anyone in particular, but sometimes there's a bit of a film school mentality
Mhm.
when they're coming out. Even I've seen it in places like FAMO, where there's this kind of like in the box way of thinking. Like when you've done it yourself and you've been like in the trenches and in the fields and getting your hands dirty and messing up and seeing what messing up looks like and having that perspective, seeing how big the room is, having that awareness really, really helps you out, you know. Just makes, and then you have so much more like life skills and people skills and stuff like that, because it's all about that. You have to deal with people, otherwise like you're not going to go anywhere. So I think if you want to be a film worker, film school is really good. If you want to be a film creator, I
Mhm.
think I'd recommend, if you're, especially if you're young enough, especially just really just going out and messing up and just
Yeah.
like head first. Try to make that terrible film that's going to fail, you know, and then everything's going to work out and you'll make something way better.
I love how you're almost saying, you know, do that horrible film, go for it. No, it's fair. It's fair. And kind of coming back as well in regards to giving back to the terminology structure, because I think it's clear to say that from what you've been saying, there's not really any structure when it comes to people coming out. You go to that school and it kind of feels like you're out in the wild, specifically in that industry. And then you know, the Facebook group you created helps in its own way. But for someone who's coming out of it, you know, it's a bit of the Wild West. Is there any tips you could give to any youngster who wants to kind of jump into the industry?
Yeah, a few. I mean, I'd recommend working for other people's shoots.
Mm-hmm.
I'd recommend even stepping down and being a PA. and being
Okay.
really, really humble, and then having the attitude of just supporting someone else running the show, you know, and then really like being a really great team player for someone else, and then seeing how they're running things. And then by having that and having a really good attitude in the smallest positions, like people, you know, when I'm in a producing position, I will recognize that and I'll remember your name. You don't have to say anything to me. I'm going to see it. Like, I'm very aware. And then, like, you know, I'll invite those people out for a coffee or something. And then, yeah, I would say just be social, go to festivals, go out and just meet people, go in the Facebook groups and just say like, hey, I'm new. I want to go for some coffees with any producers, and I want to learn. You'll be really surprised if you're just vocal and you just ask for the help you need, how many people will actually meet up with
Put
you.
yourself out there,
Yeah,
right?
I had like really like bigger people here like be totally happy to just meet for coffee and tell me advice, you know. But yeah, I would also like make your own projects independently, you know, because then when you make it outside of an environment with an agenda in a film school, you know, you really get the raw reality of like how to budget. You get a really good perspective of everyone's jobs. I would learn as many people's jobs in the film production as much as you can. Because then you have so much more sympathy for other people. So if you do want to become a producer, you know, you've sewn curtains together and doing art department stuff. You know, you've learned about that. You've been a PA. You've spent 18 hours driving people around. You know, and then it makes you so much more humble, like fruitful, and honestly gives you like a zest for life. And then when you do get into that desired position, you're so grateful that you're there, and then you treat other people better, I think.
Love that. Love that. And I was thinking of another question I could ask on that, but I feel that he's given us a clear structure to follow. Put yourself out there, try, be humble. Am I missing anything? If we simplify it in a few.
Yeah. Oh, I would say learn how to turn theoretical knowledge into practical knowledge. That's a problem
What do you mean by that?
because someone can tell you something
Mhm.
and you get this thing called action fakeism, but because you've been told this revolutionary thing that you didn't know before,
Yeah.
you get the same psychological satisfaction as if you've actually accomplished it, but you haven't. And so you feel really great, this sense of euphoria, because this like, I don't know, you went to Carly Bavari and this big cinematographer gave you this really good piece of advice, but you haven't went and done that on your film yet. You know what I mean? So that's why a lot of film students have egos, because they feel like they're on Spielberg's level because they've had the art director from Alien vs. Predator come in and give this advice. But it's like, you haven't done that, you know. No offense, but it's reality.
That's
It's
fair.
true. So that's why, like for example, going out and I don't know, rubbing 15,000 crowns together and getting sponsors to do your own short film. You know, you'll get that script, you get that plan, you get your storyboards and everything together. And then when you come to the editing room, you'll see how much you did not execute that correctly. And then you'll see why. And then now that information is practical. So the next time you do it, you're not going to get that thing wrong because you've been there and you've done that and you've been in the field and done it physically. You've turned that idea into reality, you know. So do that.
Hope you guys are taking notes. There's quite a few points here. I'll bring it quickly to the last two questions. Apologies to our audience if you're visually seeing any technical difficulties. We are having our lovely setup that's being completely sunburned, I want to say, as much as I am. in
Cameras
this
are having heat
position.
strokes.
Yeah, I like that term, heat stroke. Okay, let's bring it to looking back, because you mentioned the term being humble, and I think one of the key aspects of being humble in the first place is kind of looking back at the journey. Uh, and I always say, you know, fuck it, it's the past, leave it behind. But it is also what made you who you are today. And I do want to ask, because as beautiful as the journey might be, the way you present it, even though you have been transparent to some of the closed doors you faced and so on, has there been a moment for you that kind of really still hits you and still stays by you where you almost gave up on that path you were taking on that journey you were taking on, regardless of what it was at the moment, but during that journey, was that moment you were like, and it still stands by you and you remember it to, you know, keep moving forward?
I just think some really bad client experiences probably
Okay.
like, and that's a whole learning curve in itself. You know, you just like deal with some like terrible people who have some sort of mental issues or some sort of like subconscious associations with like money or paying people or things like this.
And that impacted you as well emotionally, or just
Yeah,
from a professional level?
or people throwing you in a really, really like bad environments to film in,
Uh-huh.
you know, or like you're working for an artist where the budget's not bad, but the concept's too ambitious,
Mhm.
and then they give you like 2 weeks to prepare a shoot that should probably take a month and a half.
Oh.
And then they're like, and then at a time, you know, you're taking it because you think you're selling yourself the illusion that you think you need the job and it's going to be your career, but you're so likely, it's so likely to fail and for you to fall out with the client or have some sort of litigation that it's probably not worth it and stuff like that. So there's like a couple of aspects of the toxic side of the film industry that, like, yeah, some memories pop up here and there. Yeah, and then just had some moment where I even had a lawsuit from a former client.
Sure. What happened there?
And then actually I lost it because I didn't know that it was there, because there was some sort of change, and it was now allowed to only be served through the data box,
Mhm.
and it wasn't set up to give my email notifications, so I didn't even know it was happening.
You were completely blinded by the
Oblivious. And then
Jesus.
so it was basically like just a default. Like if they at least have like a little bit of
Mhm.
you know, A plus B is equals C,
Yeah.
and then you don't respond, it's just, yeah. So there's been some like pretty like some traumatic experiences like that, but then I kind of just like take a step back to take a step forward, remind yourself why you love this, why you got into this industry, and then just go full force again. And those people want to keep coming, and they can just keep coming, you know.
Well, let's flip it. What's been the most rewarding one so far?
Yeah, exactly. But also you get more experience with law, with legal stuff.
Yeah.
And then you just get more
Without
wisdom.
wanting it necessarily. Because I feel you
Yeah.
didn't necessarily want to know more about the legal stuff
Well,
necessarily.
and then you start to get a lot more confidence of saying no to a lot of jobs as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah.
And then, like, because some of them are just you can just see already that that's a disaster waiting to happen, and then you're gonna get the blame for it, you know.
And is there any project or any of those client memories that you have that was the most amazing, most rewarding one? You turn it around from negative to something positive
Yeah, I had this
that you can share, of course.
yeah, of course. I had this Miss Pilot trailer. It was kind of my first bigger shoot in Czech Republic, where I had like proper full, you know, grip team with, you know, the camera dolly, things like that. I had the guys who worked on Spider-Man Far From Home when it
Cool.
was filming
Okay.
here. We have a really good bromance going on. Love those guys. And we had this American director who I think is a bit autistic, and was basically trying to take care of things he should have been taken care of, and then there was just certain things really not planned well on the shoot, and just everything you could imagine going wrong was just going wrong. And then we flew all of our actors from the States as well, so
Wow.
and some of them have never been out of like their state in the US,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so now they're in, like, you know, across the pond. And that was
Small
challenging
pond.
as well, because the director started like panicking. If he panics, everyone, the actors start panicking. So I had to go to him like, look, you need to stop pacing around, because like these guys are like losing it. And then I had to be like the cool uncle all the time, like, guys, this is a first world country. We have hospitals. Like it's
Jesus
all
Christ.
good. Don't worry. And then, like, some people were having enough. Some people were almost like having some some breakdowns, and like thinking about walking off set. And I had to come to the people and like, do it for me. Like, come on, like, I've got you. I'm gonna get you like 5 beers after, you know, like stuff like this. And then I was sleeping pretty much 2 to 3 hours a night, because of the things that were messing up. We were like, on the first day, we lost a few really important scenes that it was non-negotiable. We couldn't finish the shoot without getting those scenes. Otherwise, the whole thing, you
Mhm.
may as well just throw the whole shoot away. And
Yeah.
I forgot what the budget was. It was like 400,000 Czech crowns or something for a 5-day shoot. And yeah, so I had to, like, when everyone else was sleeping, like, be up after a really long day of shoot, and like getting really creative with the call sheets, with the scheduling, and like how I'm gonna like make up for lost time and stuff like this. But we did it. I ended up winning a cinematography award at the
Shit.
European
Congratulations.
Cinematography Awards for this.
Amazing.
And it was good, and I'm really happy with the results. Like, I think it's one of my most unique shoots. So it was really cool. Visuals, awesome. Everyone was really happy with the result.
I do want to add actually something, if you don't mind, just one quick last question before we get to closing it. But we mentioned a bit about the people, but the way you were discussing about being the uncle, the dad vibe, it is it is an industry that where I feel from what you how you're presenting it to us, because we're quite new to it, but it feels like everyone kind of knows everyone. When you big network and you hear about this and that, but do you feel that one of the beauty about this industry is as well, there's that kind of not family vibe, because it's not a perfect family, but to an extent, if you see what I mean?
Yeah, that's really nice when you find your crew, you find your crowd is one of the best parts of it. It's
The
really
human
nice.
connection.
Yeah, they're working with the same people who you like and you love
Yeah.
their work and being around them as well. And positive people, you know, who are like efficient and proactive and things like that. And you don't
But
have to worry
and
about.
it's much deeper connections, because let's be honest, I guess my question was more, me, freelancer, sometimes go to a client's office, they 9 to 5 typical job, you stay behind the desk. But you guys, you just mentioned you barely sleep sometimes, you're working super late on some scenes, you really create some deep
Yeah,
connection. It's not
you're
just professional connections anymore.
yeah, you're shooting in the rain, shooting in the
Yeah,
snow,
exactly. Yeah.
this kind of thing. Yeah, yeah, it's really good. It's really amazing, and you get the best like hit of euphoria when you wrap up a shoot. It's like the biggest drug,
I
you
love
know.
that.
You go through all that stuff, and then you get this like product that you can hopefully be proud of at the end of it, and it's a really magical cycle of the whole thing. You know, becomes really addictive.
Beautiful. Well, on that final note, I guess one last question to you, and we can put some sunscreen on. I want to say, what's next? What's the next chapter for you, if any?
Yeah, well, we're like jumping to very much new heights. Um, we're working with the same team from the lens test commercial, and we're now
Oh, okay.
we're preparing a movie with a 20 million Czech crown budget roughly. So that's going to be amazing. We've got some much bigger feature films coming. Some are in development, some are almost ready to go. And so yeah, right now we're going to have like a lot more movies, and things are going to scale up, and there's going to be a lot more opportunities for expats in Prague.
Love that. Beautiful.
That's the main goal. There's other things, but I gotta do one thing at a time.
Priorities. Have some structure as well. I love that. Okay. Well, Henry, thank you so much for joining us
Yeah,
today.
thanks.
Thank you,
Appreciate
man.
it.
It's a real pleasure. Guys, as usual, check out, follow us, check us out, Spotify, YouTube. We also have the Instagram page. Make sure to check our website, www.shenanigans.cz. And of course, we will be putting all the links in the description, whether it's the Instagram of Henry, so you can see a bit more live. His website as well, the actors, Prague Actors Group. Please go check it out. Do not spam. He's going to moderate.
Will be deleted.
Exactly.
Try me.
Try it. Actually, yeah, try it. Well, on that note, guys, take care. Enjoy your day, and thank you very much. Ciao.